Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be doing a pregnancy update and answer some of you guys' questions that you've been having. Been meaning to do a pregnancy update. Also, I'm out of breath just from moving from here to there, so don't mind that. I've been meaning to do a pregnancy update for a while, but with it being the holidays and stuff, I just really haven't had the time to sit down. I know, like, have the time sounds weird because I'm on hospital bed rest and feels like I have all the time. Not really, but I really wanted to give a pregnancy update because I update Instagram like every single day on just little things that happen, but not YouTube, because it's hard for me to sit down and like record all of that, when on Instagram I can just take a little snapshot, say something, and then upload it immediately. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, then go follow me. I would say to see daily updates now, but I'm actually not on Instagram currently for the next 19 days. My church is doing something called the Daniel fast, and it's related to food, which I can't do being in the hospital, so I have chosen to push away social media for the next 19 days. With that being said, there's a lot of things that I have to say, a lot of things I want to update you guys on, so hopefully I can do it in a kind of like quick manner rather than a 30-minute video, which is very easy for me to do because I love to talk. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is just how I'm feeling physically, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff. Physically, I am struggling. I've actually been struggling physically since I had my surgery, which is kind of like known, kind of not unexpected because I had surgery, and I just have a lot of pain, a lot of irritability in my belly, and just overall body, because being on bed rest and not being able to move is not the best feeling ever, and my body gets really stiff. And then I also can't move a lot because I get in pain, and I can't because it can continue. I have a chance of separating my membranes more and stuff, so it's just kind of bad all around in that area. But and I'm having trouble sleeping recently because I am 35 weeks, and I know when you get closer and closer to your due date and more into that 9 month, end of 8 months period, everything starts to get super uncomfortable, and they were not kidding. I feel so large. I don't really feel like I'm that big, but I feel large because it's just everything is so irritable and crampy and cramped in there, and he likes to move all the time, which is something I'll talk about in a minute, but it's just a lot going on. And I've had a lot of people say, why are you still in pain? Why do you have pain? Well, the simple answer is I had surgery. It's the best way that I can describe it, and even though I haven't had one myself, it's a similar situation. If you've had a C-section, it's like having a C-section, except instead of them taking the baby out, they leave the baby in, and there's a baby literally growing underneath an incision that they did on you. So it's not this scar doesn't hurt at all. I can touch it, whatever, it doesn't feel like it's stretching or ripping or anything, but the inside of me feels like that all the time. It's I feel like I'm constantly being ripped apart, and it's just because the incisions that they made on my uterus are, I don't know if they're still trying to heal or if it's just scar tissue or whatever, but baby likes to move on them, and it causes a lot of pain and discomfort. And I also have round ligament pain. I have all of that stuff, and just also the fact that I'm sedentary most of the time doesn't help. It just makes everything really stiff and blah. But other than that, physically I feel okay. I can't not be grateful because I haven't had any more separation. Separation actually looks better, and I'm still able to get up and go from here to the bathroom or here to the water fountain fridge out there, which is not a lot of movement, but it is some. So I'm really grateful for that. Mentally, I struggle still. You can't really blame me though, right? Because when you're in this type of situation where you are in 4 walls, confined to 4 walls, and it's not your house, it's not your home, you see new faces every day, or maybe the same faces. I get a lot of the same nurses, but I don't have visitors all the time, except I am so thankful that my family has taken the time to, my mom comes up once a week or once every other week. Sometimes my grandma comes up, Craig comes up usually every weekend, not usually, he has come up every weekend. So those times when people are here make the time go really fast, and I'm like grateful for those times and like blessed to have family that would sacrifice that time to come see me. But the times when people aren't here during the week is a struggle, because it's just really lonely, and I've had to really talk to myself and convince myself, not convince, but just like reassure myself that I am not alone in this at all. Like, I might be confined to these four walls, but I have amazing nurses. I have God who is with me 24/7. He does not leave me. And it's just something that I've had to like continually remind myself of when I get in like a mentally hard frame of mind, I guess. It's a very big, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a really uncomfortable situation. So sometimes I can just let the discomfort of the situation get into my head a little bit. And it's not depression or anything like that. I don't feel depressed at all. And I have been depressed in the past, so I know what that feels like. But it's just hard. It's just a lot. So, but other than that, my relationship with God spiritually is really growing right now, and it's really still strong. And Craig and I's relationship with God is continuing to grow every single day. And it's just like knowing that this month, like the month of January in the year of 2020, we will have a baby is like mind-boggling. That I've spent 9 months getting to this point. I've spent 3 months, almost 3 months away from my home, and 2 months in a hospital is crazy. That I will have a baby in my arms in less than 30 days or however long before he gets here. And because of that, it's just made me want to lean on God even more and just say, okay, God, like, what do you need from me? What do you need to refine in me? What do you need me to be obedient to throughout the next however many weeks before he gets here, so that I can be prepared spiritually and mentally for this? And I know that like people are going to say, well, you can never be fully prepared. I agree. I don't think I'm going to be fully prepared for when he gets here, but I can be obedient to what God wants to teach me in this time, and that's really what I'm trying to do. Okay, so now how baby is. He is a warrior. Like, that's the only way that I can describe it. And a world changer. Basically, a warrior, a world changer, a superhuman. I don't know. He's just crazy. After everything that he's been through, he still moves like crazy, like almost to the point where it's very uncomfortable for me, because movement under all of this is really painful. But the amount that he moves, I'm like, what are you doing in there sometimes? Like, he's having a dance party. I've sent videos to Craig, or Craig's been here with me, and he's just been like, it's like, so I don't know if you can see my belly in this shot, but it's like his head is very, very low, and it's like head, spine, butt, feet, and his hands, like one hand is usually down by his feet and the other hand is like up here. That's what I've seen in the ultrasounds. And he likes to like flail out. Does that make sense? It's like he's like in this, and he likes to like do that. It's crazy when he does it, because my whole belly's like doo. It's really cool, but he just is a warrior. Every single time that we have an ultrasound, honestly is nerve-wracking, because as much trust as we have in God, and as much trust that we have that he's going to come into this world, a miracle and crazy things are going to happen, those ultrasounds twice a week are nerve-wracking, because every single time they warn you something could have gone wrong, something could have changed in a negative way, and it's a lot. But every time that we've had an ultrasound, almost every time, they've just been like, yep, passed with flying colors, he's doing great, he is doing everything that he should be doing, he's right where he should be growth-wise, doing things that they said he wouldn't be able to do already, and he's still in there. It's just absolutely incredible. And one of the things that I've really been excited about recently with him is that I really wanted him to have hair. I wouldn't have cared if he didn't. I just really wanted him to have hair. And so recently, the past like 3 or 4 ultrasounds, they have been showing us his hair. And you guys, I'll put a picture on the screen of what his hair looks like, because it is insane. I didn't know that you could see hair on an ultrasound until they showed me. And like, I had a different ultrasound tech each time that they showed me the hair, so I know that it wasn't just one person saying that he had it. They were like, do you realize how much hair your son has? and they'll like put the probe on his head or whatever, and move it a little bit, and it'll go from looking like peach fuzz to like this long, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Except right now it looks like it's only on the back of his head, so he's gonna like have a grandpa haircut. Fine with me, whatever. It's just so funny because there's so much of it, and he also apparently has rolls already, so a chunky hairy baby, what more could you want? Alright, so now I just want to talk about a few things that have happened since I've been in the hospital that are really, really cool. So one of the things that happened was the first like full week that I was here, I had an ultrasound on Monday, and I went to that ultrasound and I was going to be 30 weeks, and there was a mom who was in a wheelchair next to me, and she looked kind of like disgruntled, she looked kind of like unhappy and like frustrated, and so I just figured maybe it was because she had been waiting there for a while to get her ultrasound. So then she looked at me after a while and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, "How far along are you?" And I smiled and I said, "I'm 30 weeks today." And she just kind of like went and put her head down, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she looked at me and she was like, "I'm losing my baby." And as you can imagine, my heart literally dropped in my butt, and I was like, "I'm so sorry." And she goes on to tell me a little bit about her story and how she is currently addicted to heroin, and she feels like God is punishing her for being addicted to heroin and not getting clean and not taking care of herself. And she said that she has another son who the system took away from her because she's addicted to heroin, and how she's just fighting through all this stuff, and how she's so upset because she is losing her baby, potentially losing her baby. She said she didn't know, that's why she was there, to find out if she was. And so I got to pray over her in that moment, and I got to speak life into her body, and I got to speak strength into her to fight the addiction of heroin, and for God to give her resources and people in her life to help her get clean. And it was just like a really cool experience, and I walked away from that just so grateful that she was going into that room alone physically, but she wasn't going into that room alone spiritually. She had somebody completely random, a stranger, pray for her as she went into that room and saw if she lost her baby or not. And it was just a really cool experience for me to, like, the first week that I was here, be able to pray over her. The last one that I really wanted to just talk about is my doctor, the doctor who's like the MFM, which is maternal fetal medicine, who like oversaw my surgery and who keeps up with me and the baby every day and every week and delivers me the good news or the bad news. She came into my room one day on a Monday after an ultrasound, and she was just like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. I have never once told her that I'm a Christian. I've never once told her that I believe in God or anything like that, and she is Muslim. And she walks into my room and she says, "Hey, I just want you to know that I'm believing God with you. Like, I'm believing God alongside you, that you're going to make it to full term, or 37 weeks, 38 weeks, whatever. And I also just believe that you're going to be the first patient in like however many years to make it to full term without rupturing." And I was just like, what? Like, out of nowhere, she just walks in my room and says that, and I was like, holy crap, that's so encouraging and so neat to hear from somebody who we've never talked about God together before. And then after that, we got to talk about God for like a few minutes, and she was just like, I see such good things over you. Like, I see God's favor in your life, and I see that this baby is gonna do amazing things. She said everything that we have said would happen hasn't happened, besides the separation, obviously. She's like, you continue to prove us wrong, your baby continues to prove us wrong. And I was like, yeah, and he's gonna continue to until for the rest of his life. And man, it was just really cool to get to talk to your doctor about God and how you believe that he's done miracles and he's still going to do miracles. It was just really, really cool. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the delivery plan. So we're not going to be sharing our birth plan at all here on YouTube or social media or anything like that, because ultimately whatever happens in my birth is up to God. Whatever timing this baby comes is up to God. And we're not trying to control anything here, but the things that we can have like a little bit of say in, you know, like what happens after he's born, like cord clamping, stuff like that, whatever, we're having a plan for, obviously. But I know that births are unpredictable, but that doesn't mean I'm not still going to have a birth plan. And I've had so many questions on whether I can have a vaginal delivery or if I'll have to have a c-section. And the answer is I will be having a vaginal delivery. The only reason I would need a c-section is just like the reason any uneventful pregnancy would need a c-section is if something's wrong with the baby during delivery, like they're not taking it well, or something's wrong with me, I have high blood pressure or whatever. But as of right now, there's absolutely no need for a c-section, and I'm really grateful for that. So the plan of delivery is that because I have been diagnosed with something called gestational hypertension, which is basically just like a few random high blood pressures above like 130 or 140 over something, not really sure, they want me to deliver between 37 weeks and 38 weeks. So what that looks like, we have an idea, but we also are not for sure on that, so we're not sharing that, all those details 100%. But the plan is between 37 and 38 weeks, so within the next 3 weeks, basically. Wow, that's crazy. Basically, as far as we know, I'm taking 2 medications. One is prometrium or progesterone, and the other one is Precardia. And they are basically just medication to help keep my uterus relaxed and calm contractions if I have them. And if, my body wants to start to go into preterm labor, it can kind of just calm things down. It doesn't stop me from going into labor, but it just calm things down a little bit. I'm going to be going off those medications when I turn 37 weeks. So that doesn't mean that immediately I'm going to go into labor. It could, I don't have any say over when this baby comes, whether I try to encourage my own labor naturally or I have to get induced. Like, this baby is going to come when God has designed him to come. But I would love to avoid an induction because, nobody really wants to be induced. Nobody really planned for that unless it's, you go over 40 weeks or whatever, or, the things that happen that would encourage induction. I really don't want to have to be induced. So I asked my doctor if between 37 and 38 weeks, if I could go off those medications and try to just do things to encourage labor. So up until now, I have had to be sedentary most of the time. I've only been able to really stretch and haven't been able to have any type of stimulation body-wise. And so I asked her if I could do those things starting at 37 weeks to just see what my body does. And if anything, if I can get a little bit of dilation happening, that would be incredible, if I had to go into an induction, because I really don't want to have to go into an induction with a completely closed cervix. That would be really awful on my body, having already had this surgery, and just how strong the contractions would be right away. I just know it would be hard. It's hard for everyone. Induction's usually hard for everyone, I think. I don't want to make that assumption, but from everyone that I've talked to, they have said that it's harder than natural contractions. When I turn 37 weeks, we are planning to do things like walking, bouncing on a ball, pumping, just really simple stuff like that, to try to see if I can encourage labor on my own or encourage some dilation on my own. And then if nothing happens and we make it to the end of 38 weeks or whatever, and I have to be induced, then I have to be induced. Not the end of the world at all. I just want this baby to come into the world however he is meant to come into the world. So after delivery, what that looks like, I know the biggest question is are they gonna have to take him right away? So it's kind of weird situation. Okay, so I won't be delivering in this room, and I also may not be delivering in this hospital. If I go into labor naturally and I am in active labor while I'm here, they will not transport me to the different hospital, which is Children's Hospital. I will just labor and deliver here, and then after the 24 hours or however long that I'm admitted here after he's born, we will then go to children's so that he can have his tests done and everything, which does not necessarily mean he will have to be admitted to the NICU, especially because he'll be pretty much full term by then. It just means that he has to have some testing done that's just standard with babies who have spina bifida, and that is done at children's. But if I don't go into labor naturally while I'm here and I have to be induced, they will induce me at children's so that I'll already be there. And then like after the 24 hours or whatever, they'll just transport us up to the NICU. So it's kind of just like up in the air of exactly what happens. Either way, they have basically assured me that as long as he comes out and there is no like immediate things that need to happen, which there shouldn't be, then I will get that full 2 hours of skin to skin with him. That is like the standard, and I will get to hold him for like, he'll be with me for that entire time, besides them doing like the, I don't know, whatever tests they do on him, like just like routine baby tests. He'll be with Craig and I that entire time, and then once I am discharged, we'll go to children's and have all his testing done there. So potentially they told us, which I think is like way too long, to plan on being here 2 weeks after I deliver him, but that's if he was born premature, which he won't be born premature because I will make it to 37, 38 weeks. I just know it. Because of that, I think they said like maybe a day or two, just depending on the doctors who are there when I deliver, the doctors who do the certain tests to read the scans and stuff. So we could potentially be going home within like a day or two after he's delivered, which is literally makes me want to cry thinking about that. Is there a risk with vaginal delivery? The risk is the same risk that any person with a pregnancy without complications has. So if the tear is a risk, having to have a c-section because of whatever reasons that are like normally associated with reasons to have an emergency c-section, I have all of those same risks. My surgery doesn't cause any more risks because they treat me basically like a normal pregnant person, is what they said after my surgery, besides the fact that I have some separation of the membranes. That doesn't change anything about my delivery at this point. The only thing that has changed is because I have hypertension, they want to deliver me between 37 and 38 weeks. The question to if I will be breastfeeding is yes, 100%. I plan on exclusively breastfeeding as long as I can. Like, I don't think that I'll have troubles with that, but I also have no idea until baby's here and I try to breastfeed, no idea. But I do plan on, my doula is a lactation consultant, and there are lactation consultants both at this hospital and the other one, and I plan on like asking them all the questions and making sure that I can visually see and get a good latch and all that stuff before I leave, and just being really educated and asking all the questions. Who do I think he will look like? Well, I'll post another picture here, but he definitely looks like Craig. At least from the ultrasound pictures, definitely looks like Craig. Looks more like Craig's dad than Craig right now, but I don't know, you know, babies when they're newborns look completely different than they do when they're 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't really care who he looks like. I just hope he has long eyelashes. How will this pregnancy prepare me for the next one? It's a good question, and I'm not really 100% sure how to answer that question. But my mom and I were talking about it the other day, and she was just like, when you have another baby, which we do plan on trying in a few years to have another baby, you will be so blown away by how uneventful that pregnancy is compared to this one. And I don't want to say easy because I don't think any pregnancies are necessarily like easy. Pregnancy is a rough thing on your body, but it's like I won't know. All I know right now is pain, and all I know right now is hospital. And when I am pregnant again, I won't know any of those things. Like, as long as that pregnancy is uneventful, which I believe it will be, like, I won't have daily pain when I just move, besides like normal like pregnancy, oh my gosh, I'm uncomfortable pain. I won't have this pain, and yeah, it'll just be really interesting. My mom's like, you'll feel like you're in heaven, and I don't know. I'm not really sure. This is my first baby ever, and so all I know is this. But I think that the way that it's preparing me for the next pregnancy is more of just like, I'm going to be grateful for every single day in that pregnancy the same way that I have been grateful for this pregnancy. Because one thing that my mom also said is, you know, it's really unfortunate that I had to be going through all of this the last 3 months of my pregnancy, but at the same time, I have been given such a blessing being here, because if I wouldn't have had all of this stuff happen and I wouldn't be in this hospital room by myself most of the time, like, I get to just be with me and him, like, most of the time, just me and him. I get to lay here and do nothing and see him move and picture his life and pray for him. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do those things if I was at home, but when you're at home, you get in the busyness of life, and it's not just me and him all the time. And it's just a really cool thing to know that, like, I have this baby growing inside of me, and he'll be here soon. And for the last 2 months, I've just been able to, like, my only job has been to keep him in and to keep him growing. And that's crazy. Okay, guys, that is the update. There was a lot of more things that I could update you on, but I don't want this to be a really long video, and those are the most important things for you guys to know. So if you have any other specific questions that I can answer, then comment them down below, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. But thank you guys so much for following this journey. Thank you for all of your encouraging words and prayers since being in the hospital. It's just, I've been here like 40 some days already, and it's gone fast but also slow. But it's just like knowing that I have a couple more weeks here is insane, and your guys' prayers have been heard and have got me through this, so thank you so much for that. So remember to love God, love yourself, and love people, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!